This video will cover the origin, the history, and hopefully the conclusion of the story of Poland sending MiGs to Ukraine. The origin of a Polish MiG story with a series of social media posts from official Ukrainian channels. On February 27th, Ukrainian politician Alexei Goncharenchenko posted this message on his Telegram, which was confirmed by a Facebook post by the official Land Forces of Ukraine Facebook page. The Ghost of Kiev will now have more, plus 70 planes for the Ukrainian army. Our partners are giving us MiG-29s and Su-25s. If necessary, they will be able to be based on Polish airfields from which Ukrainian pilots will perform combat missions. Naturally, the media just reported it as fact, because official Ukrainian accounts were saying it. The Polish government, probably bewildered by this fake news, quickly corrected the record. On March 1st, the Polish president held a press conference with Jens Stoltenberg, the chief of NATO, where he said, "We will not send planes, because that would mean military interference in the conflict taking place in Ukraine. NATO is not a party to the conflict. We help Ukraine, mainly humanitarian, but our planes at this time do not fly in Ukraine."
Szanowni Państwo, tak jak powiedział przed momentem pan sekretarz generalny, nie wysyłamy naszych samolotów, ponieważ to oznaczałoby ingerencję militarną w konflikt, który toczy się na Ukrainie i włączenie się tym samym NATO w konflikt. NATO nie jest stroną tego konfliktu. Owszem, udzielamy Ukrainie różnostronnej pomocy, tak jak powiedziałem, przede wszystkim pomocy humanitarnej, natomiast nasze samoloty na Ukrainę w tej chwili nie latają.
This settled the issue of the time. Duda could have made his address a bit clearer by making it in English, but he isn't very confident in his English.
Conflict in Ukraine. This is Russian aggression, because that's true. But we are a member of the NATO and EU, and we cooperate with our allies, also with the United States of America, the leader of NATO, the biggest military. The biggest army in the world, yes, and the American soldiers are here, not far from here on our land, and we cooperate. So,
Story died down. The media reported that no, the claim that Poland would send MiGs to Ukraine was untrue. A few days later, Poroshenko did an interview on the American-owned TVN news station in Poland, where he thanked Poland for allowing Ukraine to use our airfields. Was he simply misinformed, or was he purposely trying to spread a false story in order to draw us into the war? I don't know. Please leave your opinion in the comments.
Jest atakowany przez Rosjan. Widząc to, zdajemy sobie sprawę z tego, że informacje dotyczące decyzji Unii Europejskiej o przekazaniu nam 70 samolotów wojskowych jest czymś wspaniałym. Specjalnie dziękuję rządowi polskiemu za to, że samoloty te mogą bazować na terenie polskim i mogą startować z polskiego terytorium. Z polskiego terytorium ukraińscy piloci mogą chronić przestrzeń powietrzną Ukrainy. I dzięki temu ta sytuacja u nas będzie trochę bezpieczniejsza. Dzięki temu mamy szansę jako żołnierze, by walczyć bardziej skutecznie.
This Poroshenko quote was not widely distributed, and people just wrote it off of, well, he just believed the fake news story from a couple days ago, doesn't matter. The idea that Poland would give planes to Ukraine was given fresh air by the United States Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, stating that America have given Poland the green light to send planes to Ukraine.
What more can the United States do here if, for instance, the Polish government, a NATO member, wants to send fighter jets? Does that get a green light from the U.S., or are you afraid that that will escalate tension?
No, that gets a green light. In fact, we're talking with our Polish friends right now about what we might be able to do to backfill their needs if, in fact, they choose to provide these fighter jets to the Ukrainians. What could we do? How can we help to make sure that they get something to backfill the planes that they're handing over to the Ukrainians? We're in very active discussions with them about that. Look, I've been in...
The next day, the U.S. press secretary confirmed what Blinken had said about plans to backfill Polish MiGs with American fighter planes.
Clarity, I know everybody's following this very closely, but to catch others up, we're talking about Polish planes, right? These fighter jets that they are requesting. We're working with Poland on this issue and consulting with the rest of our NATO allies on it. This is Poland's sovereign decision to make. We have in no way opposed Poland transferring planes to Ukraine. But to go to the source of your question here, I think, Cecilia, there are a number of challenging practical questions, including how the planes would actually be transferred from Poland to Ukraine, right? So are they going to fly? Where will they depart from? Where will they land? Those are all very important questions here. And also, as it relates to the backfill question, we are working through some pretty complicated logistics on that front as well, including how we would backfill, because procuring new planes and transferring serious weapon systems often takes years to do from the United States. So that is all; those are all two layers of difficult logistical challenges here.
I believe that the Polish government at no time in this conflict ever considered sending planes to Ukraine. This is a very dangerous move for Poland, as Russia might view it as our entry into the war as an active participant. Would Putin care what color the planes were painted? Yesterday, the Polish government released a press release. Statement of the Minister of Foreign Affairs in the Republic of Poland in connection with a statement by the United States Secretary of State on providing airplanes to Ukraine. The authorities of the Republic of Poland, after consultations between the President and the government, are ready to deploy, immediately and free of charge, all their MiG-29 jets to the Ramstein Air Base and place them at the disposal of the government of the United States of America. At the same time, Poland requests the United States to provide us with used aircraft with corresponding operational capabilities. Poland is ready to immediately establish the conditions of the purchase of the planes. The Polish government also requests other NATO allies, owners of MiG-29 jets, to act in the same vein. When this press release came out, we all assumed this was a done deal. We are sending our MiGs to Germany. That doesn't seem like a terrible idea, right? However, extremely surprisingly, the Americans weren't prepared for this. This took them by surprise. The U.S. announced that this Polish statement blindsided them. This is an extremely unusual diplomatic move by Poland. Probably the most interesting diplomatic move Poland has made in years. Poland never intentionally aggravates America. The statement yesterday was a public rebuttal of American attempts to get Poland involved in the conflict. Basically saying, if Americans want someone to send planes to Ukraine, why doesn't America do it? And stop talking about us. Alright, to finish this video, got something more speculative. Here are some opinions of Polish military analysts, which could be true or could not be true. According to Radosław Pifel, the Americans are worried about giving the Chinese a clear path for conquest of Taiwan, so they are looking for replacement states to tie the Russian military on the other side of the Eurasian continent. There's already a war in Ukraine, so why not involve Poland? Americans will not have to die, as the military units in Poland can be evacuated within 24 hours. American troops in Poland are the same units that were responsible for the evacuation of Afghanistan last year. Poland can be supported by supplying weapons, and after the conflict widens, the media can turn on Poland and say it was Poland that provoked the conflict, so America isn't responsible and shouldn't get involved, right? This is more speculative and very pessimistic on the NATO alliance, but Poland does have to be very careful. We live in extremely dangerous times, and I think this was a good move by the Polish government, and it should stop the Americans from putting out these stories about Poland getting involved in the Ukrainian war. But it's an open question. Perhaps the Americans will agree to the Polish offer, perhaps not. But I think it will stop them from talking about Polish planes going to Ukraine. Anyway, that's it for today. Do widzenia.